Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the Cryptoverse. I figured we should probably go live. Let me post this in a few different places. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. So, pretty eventful morning. I got up this morning and I saw it was at 51K. And then I had to go out and do something and I saw it was at 50K. And then I came back and I looked at my phone and it was at 45K. So when I started this stream, it was actually a couple $1,000s above where I last saw it at. But I thought it might be useful to hop on a live stream, talk about the market, talk about what's going on, and some of the possibilities from here. So the first thing we should note is that we went to the 20 week. Now, is that a sufficient test? I mean, obviously that's up for interpretation. I would personally like it to be a longer test than that. But if we zoom in, we had a wick down to the 20 week. And the 20 week now is coming in at a very modest, and again, it depends on the exchange you use, right? Like some exchanges have it a little bit higher, some have it a little bit lower. The 20 week right now is around $42,000, right? On this exchange or on this index here, it's a very modest $42,060. Okay, the 21 week EMA is at 43,245. There's something I told you guys back in August, in early August. I said, in the future, we're going to go above the 20 week, and then we're going to go back down to it. And when we go back down to it, everyone's going to be scared out of their mind, right? When we go back down to it, everyone's going to be scared. Even though Bitcoin was at these prices, let's show you, right? Even though Bitcoin was literally at these prices 6 days ago. Okay, so the idea is, and I said this back then, right? That Bitcoin it will one day, when it goes above the 20 week, the momentum was there. We said, all right, goes above the 20 week. What happens when we get a correction back down to it? Everyone loses their mind, right? Everyone starts running around. The whole market just is crazy at the time. I was actually looking at this last night on the 4 hour. I don't really follow this stuff that frequently, but it does look like we tend to have a hard time getting back above this line. It was support for a little while, and then now we keep getting rejected by it. But remember, we said back then, when we go to the 20 week, everyone's always scared. Right? Everyone's always scared when it happens. And if you go look at say what happened in the past, right? If you look at what happened in the past, everyone was scared back here too. And the question now on my mind, and I told you guys back in May, right? I said this back in May. What do we need? We need a 3 to 6 month lull in the market. We had 3 months. The only question is, do we need 3 more? And I don't know that we do. I mean, maybe that plays out where we need 3 more months, where it takes us out till the end of the year before we can hold the 20 week as support. But I would say there's still a good fighting chance that Bitcoin can hold it here. And if it does hold it here, then in a bull market at the 20 week is usually the best time to get it, right? I mean, if you haven't, and that's to say if you haven't already gotten it, right? If you've never bought Bitcoin before, in a bull market, buying it at the 20 week it tends to be the best time. And we can look at what's happened in years past. We can look at 2017 and note that if you bought Bitcoin at 370, it wouldn't have been as good as buying it at 200, but that was basically the best price you would have gotten forever, right? You would have never seen it at these prices again. And then you move forward, and then we moved up to 570 at the 20 week back in 2016. And you might have said, well, it's higher. Like, it's higher than it was over here, and it's higher than it was over here. But again, we would have never seen those prices again. Now, today, if I'm being completely honest, I do think that the next bear market, like the next multi-year bear market, or 1 to 2 year bear market accumulation phase, whatever, my guess is that it's around 50K, plus or minus 10K. So if you want to think out, so let's say 3 years. Okay, so 3 years from now, we'll have, a little less than 3 years from now, we'll have the next Bitcoin halving. And the fair value of Bitcoin has always been at the price at the time of the halving. Okay, so if I show you what I mean, we have our regression bands. At every single halving, the price has been at the fair value right here. And then in July of 2016, it was at the fair value. And then in May of 2020, we were also at the fair value. And in 3 years, the quote unquote fair value fit to non-bubble data, right? I'm talking about non-bubble data. I'm not talking about peak data, maybe. I'm just saying non-bubble data, meaning that the next time in the next bear market, whenever that takes place, and we have like a very long reaccumulation phase, my guess is that the prices then will actually probably be around what we are at today. That might sound insane, right? It might sound insane that I could say something like that. Well, we've seen it happen plenty of times in the past. So like, imagine if Bitcoin goes up to like, I don't know, 150K or 160K, 180, 140, whatever. Whenever the bear market hits, I'm guessing we come back down to 50K plus or minus 10K, right? What's a few K among friends? That's my guess. That's my best guess. So you could look at this and say, well, in the grand scheme, it's not the worst buy in the world. But again, if we don't hold the 20 week and we kick the can down the road of 3 more months, then I would argue that it just gives you time to DCA back into the market. So let's take a close look here, because there's some things we spoke about last night that we should maybe brush back up on. So we have our bull market support band. By the way, if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Let's go for at least 1,000 likes. We have 5,000 viewers. It seems reasonable that we could get 1,000 likes. So here's the 20 week. So this is where the 20 week is. We're at around 42K. And we actually had a wick right between the 21 week EMA and the 20 week SMA. Okay, so we had a wick right down between both of them. And we came right back up. And you might say, well, is this a test? Let's put it this way. Let me try to clarify my thoughts. Okay. If this is the only test we get, and it's nothing more than a wick, which is a distinct possibility, and it's only a wick, then I ultimately don't think we will go as high as we could if we actually held the 20 week for 1 to 2 months. Okay. So what I mean by that is, if this is the only thing that Bitcoin gets, and next week we're trading back above 50K and we're just shooting higher, and we're more so lining up potentially with a 4-year cycle, which again, I believe that the cycle will lengthen, but there's plenty of reasons that people might think it'll peak in say December or whatever. So if that happens, right, and we ultimately end up peaking earlier, then my guess is it won't go as high as it could otherwise go if we were to lengthen. And I would also argue that if we actually have a long test of the 20 week moving average, despite how painful it can be, right? It's ultimately in our best interest, okay? Sometimes the thing that's best for the market is the thing that's the most painful, okay? Sometimes that's how it works. So a wick, technically we went to the bull market support band, right? We'll look back at this and say, well, if we only ever went up from here, you had your chance, right? If you had a buy order set at the 21 week EMA, or maybe just above the 20 week SMA, and on some exchanges, we made it to the 20 week, I believe. Let's actually, I don't know. I'm guessing Kraken tends to have some of some of the most fancy wicks in a way. So we could go look to see what it was doing on Kraken. Does it not have it on here? I'm not even seeing Kraken on here unless I'm blind. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. What am I missing? Let's just do Bitcoin. Oh, XBT. That's right. That's why I can't find it. All right. Yeah. All right. So on Kraken, let's go look at the weekly. Look at that. Look at this. I mean, look at that wick. Hey, look at that wick. Right at the 20 week. Kraken has the best wicks. Kraken has the best wicks. Yeah, like the Ethereum wick on Kraken is back in earlier this year. Yeah, like that wick. I had some buy orders filled on that wick actually. Not all of them. I missed some of them, but right at the 20 week. Okay, so we hit right at the 20 week on Kraken. Obviously, we didn't hit it everywhere. And you're probably looking at me saying, well, Ben, you said we needed a test, right? You said we need to test the 20 week. That's in our best interest. Historically speaking, testing the 20 week is what makes the most sense. We know that September is normally not the best month for Bitcoin, if history is any indication. Last week, when I spoke about the returns in September not necessarily being that great. And then in the first week of September, the prices went up. And then it was everyone's natural. I saw one person say, oh, Ben was wrong. And I'm like, it's not about being right or wrong, right? It's just about reporting historical trends and providing information that people can use in their own manner, right? And I don't know. I mean, we have a long way to go at this point before we know if September is a red month or not. Right now, it's a red month. Yesterday, it was a green month. Right now, we're only down 0.8%, right? We're only down 0.8% on the month. Again, the price of Bitcoin was literally these prices 6 days ago. Now, my preference is to actually get a longer test. This would be my preference. But unfortunately, I don't always get what I want. Because remember, it was this test over here going into September and early October. It was this test, right? It was that test right there that ultimately led to that. Okay? That's what it led to. Without this test, I don't know if we would have gotten the same move. I mean, I really don't know. I feel like there were a ton of people that loaded up here and packed their bags, and it provided a ton of momentum for the market. Something else I think that maybe helped a little bit when we tested the 20 week back over there. You guys remember the Gap Boys. Everyone remembers the Gap Boys, the guys that were waiting for the CME gap on the daily at 9,600 to get filled. And I told you guys back then, like, it's too risky. If you're going to claim that a gap has to get filled on the daily time frame at $9,600 rather than just buying Bitcoin at $9,800, imagine you missed out on a $9,800 Bitcoin because you were waiting for a $9,600 Bitcoin, and then it went to 64K and just smoked you. It just left you behind. And my guess is that the people that were waiting for it to go back down to say 9,600 or below were the ones that helped fuel the rally later on. So today, I think that this is the test, right? This is the key test that we need to show, okay? I mean, there's no free lunch. Everyone wants a free lunch. Again, in crypto, there is no free lunch. In order for us to really have a nice sustained move, historically speaking, a 20-week test is usually in the cards. It was in the cards in 2020, and we held it. We're now trying to hold it, my friends, in 2021, okay? And I will tell you my perspective on the implications of it either holding or it not holding, okay? So, if it holds over, say, the next 1 to 2 months, so let's suppose that we hold it out as support through September. Let's suppose we hold it as support maybe going into October. My speculation at that time would be that Bitcoin is going to still show, right? Like I feel like we would see a nice move to the upside in October, November, December, January, February, March. It may be similar to what we saw, right? Maybe similar to what we saw. That's if it holds it as support. And I don't know that it'll be quite as volatile. Like I don't expect a 6x if it holds. Like if it holds at 42K, I don't think that Bitcoin's going to immediately go to 250K. Of course, there's a lot of people that would disagree with me on that, and that is fine. But I do think that there still is more potential upside. So if it holds, Bitcoin will likely still the show for a while. If it doesn't hold, what happens, right? What happens if it doesn't hold? Bitcoin still stills the show, right? Does that make sense? Well, how could it, no, so you're saying no matter what happens, Bitcoin should be the one that ultimately takes the show. That's what I think, right? That's what I think. That no matter whether Bitcoin holds it or not, that Bitcoin will likely be a very strong asset relative to the rest of the asset class. Okay, we don't talk about the Bitcoin's dominance so much on the public channel. I normally talk about it on the premium channel, but again, the dominance, it comes and goes, and everyone always thinks it's going to go one way forever, and then it doesn't, and then it reverses back. And so remember, if Bitcoin holds the 20-week, then it's going to be very strong, very strong later this year and going into 2022. If it doesn't hold the 20-week, it's not going to be strong against the US dollar, but you can bet for sure that it'll be strong against altcoins. Okay, it'll be strong against altcoins in the event that it doesn't hold. And so when I told you guys back in May that we need 3 to 6 months, so far we've gotten 3. Okay, from the weekly, if we go from the first weekly close below the 20-week to the first weekly open above the 20-week, we had 13 weeks. Okay, that's about 3 months. And so now I look at it like this, and I'm just telling you guys my strategy. If you think my strategy is garbage, then that's fine. My strategy is this: if it goes below the 20-week, it just provides an opportunity, just like it did in the summer. And my guess is if we go below, we need to grind out for a little bit longer before we can actually get back above. And I will say this: if we go below the 20-week, if Bitcoin has like a couple of weekly closes, let's say 2 weekly closes below the 20-week, like if it's just 1 weekly close and then we just pop back above it like in mid 2013, then maybe not so much. But if we have a couple of weekly closes below it, like let's say we have something like this and then another one that follows it, my speculation is that we're done until 2022, meaning no all-time highs until 2022 if we get a couple of weekly closes below the 20-week. I do think they will come. I just think it's going to take us 3 more months to dig ourselves out of the sandbox. So basically just looking at the rest of the year. If we hold it, then forget about the sandbox, right? If we hold the 20-week, I would say forget about the sandbox. We should be trending up. And I don't think we're just going to hang out at the 20-week for a year. Okay, like I think we're either going to hold it or we're not. And no matter what happens, Bitcoin is probably going to be relatively strong against the altcoin market during that time period. So right now we're at a very modest 46,877. If we take a look at some key indicators, let's pull up the corridor that we like to look at. So right now the corridor has us range bound between 26,803 and 104,202. So that's what the theoretical limits are on Bitcoin according to this metric, which has been pretty good. And then our regression bands show that, let's see, our regression bands show that, okay, so the highest that the upper regression band would currently allow for is a 106,000. The fair value fit to non-bubble data is actually currently coming in at just below 16,000. Okay, 16,000, which is pretty far down, which is actually not far, like it's actually right at the 200-week moving average, which is basically the worst case scenario with Bitcoin, is historically the 200-week moving average. But anyways, right now, I think the thing we need to focus on are actually 2 things. Not just the 20-week. I told you guys yesterday. Not just the 20-week, but also the 8-week, right? Let's look at the 8-week. Why look at the 8 week? Well, again, the 8 week is what held us support over here. Okay, and we held it as support a number of times in this last leg. If we don't count wicks, we're actually above the 8 week right now. The 8 week moving average right now is at 45,384. Okay, 45,384. So that would be the line in the sand if you basically are looking to just get the next leg started now. And I mean, like, basically where people tell you next week, did you buy the dip? And the reason they might say that is if we just go back above 50K, put in new local highs, maybe new all-time highs, they'll still just be looked at as a dip. And maybe we can say, well, the 8 week held again, at least on the weekly time frame. So I would look at the 8 week, and what I would say is if we end up holding the 8 week, it provides a little bit more evidence that we're just in another leg here, and we're going to have some of these shakeouts along the way. I told you guys yesterday we're going to get 30% shakeouts. This is nothing so far. I mean, so far, this is only, I mean, I guess if you go to the bottom of the wick, it was about a 19% shakeout. But in terms of 30% shakeouts, which we will have en route to 100K, a 30% shakeout would actually take us back down to 36 or 37K. So another $10,000 lower if this is where a 30% shakeout occurs. But I would look at the 8 week, which is currently at 45,381. And then I would look at the 20 week, which is at 43,000 or 42,064. If you're a little bit more are interested in the 21 week EMA, that's actually at 43,252. So there are slight differences there. But again, you can see that on Kraken, I mean, that wick right to the 20 week. So again, some people must be following the 20 week moving average, because that's where the buy orders flooded in to provide support. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Remember to check out the premium list into thecryptoverse.com. You can find a link to it in the description below if you want to know how I'm navigating these markets. I just stick to the math. I don't really worry about the shakeouts at all. Let's see some other things. So what are some other things? We can go look at Ethereum. What has the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation done? Okay, so Ether Bitcoin right now, it's at 0.0736. Okay, 0.07386. With Ethereum, historically speaking, again, I'm not trying to make any claims or anything like that. I'm just telling you, historically speaking, Ether bleeds against Bitcoin in Q4, but that doesn't mean that it bleeds against the US dollar, okay? Because if Bitcoin's going up, it's more likely than not that Ethereum's going to be dragged up with it. But if Bitcoin's going down, then Ethereum's going to bleed more than Bitcoin, more than likely. Right now, we're actually holding on relatively well, and considering that Bitcoin has dropped, currently it's down about 20%. Ethereum's actually holding up relatively well so far. Okay, now if Bitcoin, where would this change? Where would Ethereum lose confidence against Bitcoin? My guess is that if Bitcoin holds the line at the 20 week, then it might not, right? If Bitcoin is able to hold the line, then it might not go back down to these levels. If Bitcoin does not hold the line and Bitcoin goes back to like 35K or something, then yeah, Ethereum's gonna lose valuation against Bitcoin more than likely in Q4. Okay, now if that happens in Q4, then we'll be setting ourselves up for a nice Q1. A nice Q1, maybe Q2 again. Every Q1 for Ethereum against Bitcoin has been great. Most Q2s have been great as well. But right now, honestly, Ethereum's holding up really well. I mean, it's actually holding up incredibly well, given the circumstances, right? Given the circumstances, you can't really complain. I don't really see how anyone can complain with what the numbers Ethereum's putting up today, given what Bitcoin has done. Now it looks like it had a wick down to 2,900, but right now we're actually sitting at around 34.57. So I don't know that this is necessarily the bottom. Some of these times when we have these wicks down, we end up coming back down to them and then maybe turning around a little bit later on, like we did back over here, like we did back over here, and so on and so forth. So we'll see how Ethereum holds up here. Obviously, there's a lot of volatility with Bitcoin. Again, I told you guys, September tends to not be a great month. So far, it's certainly shaping up to be a volatile month, right? So far, we're 11% down on the day. If we actually go to the bottom of the wick, again, That's a 19% drop in one day, right? In one day. What it reminds me of, again, you guys know this one. You guys remember this one? This was a 10% drop. Well, first it was a 4.5% drop, and then it was a 10% drop to the 20-week. Right? It took us right to the 20-week moving average, and we basically just spent a month and a half there. Right now we have some wiggle room. Right, we're not even at the 20-week right now. We're $5,000 above the 20-week, so we have a lot of wiggle room at the moment in terms of where the 20-week moving average is coming in. Yeah, guys, I'll tell you guys my perspective. I've seen a lot of people predict market cycle tops and whatnot. To me, it does not make any sense at all to predict a market cycle top in September. Okay, could it happen? It could, right? But why are we predicting market cycle tops when Bitcoin's not even at a new all-time high, right? What? I really don't understand the answer to that question. Why are we talking about market cycle tops when Bitcoin's not at an all-time high in September? If you, the way I see it is one of two ways. If you think that the market cycle top is in, then it's not September for Bitcoin. It would have already happened in April, right? It would have already happened in April. How can we call this a market cycle top when we're nowhere even close to the all-time? We're not even at the all-time high yet, much less going up to 100K, right? We're nowhere even close to those valuations. So I really don't understand how we could construe or misconstrue. I don't understand the reasoning behind saying September is going to be a market cycle top. If you think that Bitcoin is ultimately just going to go down to $10,000, then April would have been the market cycle top, not September. Now, the only way that I could eat my words on that is if somehow Bitcoin goes on a ridiculous rally from here for the next 23 days and then drops 80% going into October, November, December, right? If that happens, then I will take my hat off to everyone calling for a market cycle top in September. But to call for a cycle top when Bitcoin is not even trading at all-time highs, it doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, like, at all. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. What does make sense to me from a bull case and a bear case, and this is, I can fully understand these other perspectives. I can understand that people might say that that's the market cycle top, right? I mean, there's evidence for it, right? And Bitcoin needs to prove otherwise. Bitcoin needs to prove that it can hold the 20-week, right? It needs to prove that. And we need to not go back down to $10,000, okay? There is a risk that you're taking, okay? So I understand why people might say that that is a market cycle top. I don't agree with them. I think that the cycle is going to extend into 2022, maybe even beyond that. But I can understand why they're arguing for it. I don't understand why people are calling September a market cycle top. It does not make any sense to me. So I don't know. I don't know who's talking about it, okay? But apparently there's enough people out there talking about it that you guys keep commenting on my videos about September being a market cycle top. Look, if we go down from here, September was not the top. It was April. For Bitcoin and for Ethereum, it would have been May. Okay, if this ends up falling out here. Otherwise, we still have a ways to go, right? And I don't see how we can call September a market cycle top in that scenario. So let me check the chat. I was joking earlier. It looks like people missed the memo of buying $30 of Bitcoin today, with selling $30 of Bitcoin. I know the whole everything with it becoming legal tender and whatnot. So people were gonna buy $30 of Bitcoin, but I guess people accidentally hit sell. Anyways, yeah, September is never been a great month, right? We know that September has never been a great month for Bitcoin. This is not anything new. We even put out a video a little bit ago saying that September is not a great month. Right now, we're actually sitting even. Like, everyone's freaking out, and we're actually not even that far down. Like, look at the monthly candle. We're almost green. We're almost green for the month. We're barely red at the moment because we opened the month at like 47.1. Look, we just turned green. Right now, September is actually green. Okay, so again, we haven't even had a big monthly correction at this point. if we end the month at 42K, then we'll have, then that'll end up being about a 10% correction back to the 20-week moving average, right? But right now we're actually green for the month. Okay. So what else do you guys want to talk about? Yeah, let me check. Let me pull up CoinMarketCap and see what's going on. All right, so it looks like Bitcoin's down 8.5%, Ethereum's down 11%, ADA's down about 14%. Not really surprising. I mean, we're going into the launch of smart contracts. There's going to be some uncertainties there. Binance is down 14, XRP is down 16. No surprise there. Doge is down 15. Polkadot is down 16. Uni's down 17. Link's down 18. Link just had a pump recently, which might explain why it's down a little bit more. BCH is down 13. Litecoin down 17. And so on. And so Avalanche is down 19. Matic down 19. Filecoin down 20. It looks like, as you go further down, there's definitely some coins with some bigger losses that get you into the close to the 20%. Close to the 20% range. Yeah, what's Solana? You guys are mentioning Solana. Solana's up 15%. Yeah, this has been a really good one. As I've said for a while, I think Solana's a good project. It definitely provides a different hedge, I guess, than some of the other projects do. So this is an interesting one to watch for sure. Everything else looks rad, except for stable coins, right? Except for stable coins. Everyone's flocking into stable coins. Those are actually slightly up. Phantom is up 23%. Quant is up 9%. So there are some coins. Near is up 9%. Most everything is red, but there's a few here and there that are still managing to hold on into the green. Yeah, I guarantee you everyone's gonna start screaming manipulation when their price predictions don't pan out, and it's like, no, it's not manipulation, it's just a market. It can't, I mean, if you want to call it manipulation, then anytime any of us buy or sell, we're manipulating the market, right? We're doing something to the market. So if it's not manipulation on the way up, it can't be just manipulation on the way down. You have to have it both ways. If you want to say it's manipulated both ways, then I can understand. But if you just shout manipulation anytime it goes down, then you're basically just drinking the Kool-Aid that they want to tell you as to why their price prediction doesn't pan out. But anyways, right now I think we'll see if we hold the 20-week. We're currently at 47.3. We have plenty of wiggle room so far, and we also on Kraken we actually tested the 20-week. I would like to see a longer test than that, but if you go back to 2017, there were definitely times where that's all we got, right? Like here's a good example. That's all we got. All we got of the 20-week. Just one wick. Here's another one. One wick. One wick down, done. No more tests for a while, right? And after that wick, it was 2 more months before we tested it again. After this wick, it was 4 months, and then we were too far gone to hold it. But again, sometimes all you get is a wick. Ideally, you get a much larger base that can really help build out the confidence for a second move, but you don't always get that. Someone says it's manipulation only when they're losing their gains. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Give the video a thumbs up. Let's go for, I mean, we have 8,500 viewers. Wow, we have 8,500 viewers. Let's go for like 5,000 likes or something. So okay, I mean, we'll see if the 20-week holds. I mean, I'm not going to stay on the live stream forever. We're not really doing much right now except just range bound at 47K. We'll see if it holds, guys. If we hold it, that's what we said we needed. If we don't hold it, what did I say? 3 more months. Okay. If we hold it, great. If we don't hold it, we get another one of these, probably. And I would say we just need 3 more months. So that's my outlook on the market. Any questions before I sign off? Someone says, what if they schedule their Forbes interview? I would probably cancel it at this point. Can I check the RSI? Yeah, let's check the RSI. Yep, we broke it and then just got rejected back down. So the RSI right now is at 49. Okay, so we're no longer coming up on a new trend way up here. I mean, guys, as I said, this is good. I mean, I do think pullbacks are great for the market. If we go straight up, we probably won't be able to go as high. Pullbacks are great. I think they are very good for the market to have these types of pullbacks, especially if we hold the 20-week. So there's the daily RSI. Let's look at the weekly. So here's the weekly. The weekly looks, you know, if you look at, say, like long-term macro, looks something like this. All right, we're slowly moving up. Big bounce, back down, big bounce, back down. Still a bit of wiggle room. On the monthly, we're still the same range. Like, we're slowly moving up on the monthly, but it's taken a really long time to, you know, to keep these levels sustained. So maybe we'll just keep seeing this, right? Like bounces off this, something like that. All right, why don't we wrap it up there? If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe. Definitely subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. We do have the premium list. You can find that in the description below. If you want to figure out how I'm navigating these markets, you'll get access to weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the trading view indicators, and more. Yeah, what is the dollar doing? Yeah, the dollar's pushed back up a little bit recently. Makes sense. Right, Bitcoin's going down, dollar's going up. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.